so early. You guys want to get some coffee or something?
Can I get a cup of coffee? Black? Can't you see we talking? White?
Even little kids in Mexico drink coffee.
Well, I'm not a little kid in Mexico, okay?
That is the best coffee I've ever tasted.
A damn fine cup of coffee.
You want a cup of coffee?
No coffee.
Coffee drinker, huh?
Maybe we could grab some coffee?
Coffee, 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 coffee.
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit. Me and Vincent would have been satisfied with some freeze-dried Taster's Choice, right? And he springs this serious gourmet shit on us.
Guten Morgen, mein Freunds and Freundins. It's Friday, man. Happy Friday. It's funny. I'm going to talk about this in a minute, Gap. It's like I woke up this morning in an existential quandary. So that actually was a question in my mind, and not the word important, but essential, required. And it's a problem I've had my entire life of not feeling like I serve a purpose. And sometimes I find myself wondering, like, what is the importance of my existence, and does it matter in the big scheme of things? And the only time in my life I've ever felt like I really was necessary was with my daughter, Zoe. Because I was all she had. And it's the only time I felt like I served a purpose in this life, and I actually do feel that while raising her, I had reached that sense of self-value that has been missing pretty much before and after, and now it's just, I want to stick around to I want grandkids. I want to enjoy them, but I've never felt important or essential to anybody, or even really to myself. What I've felt is lucky, blessed, whatever you want to call that, to be here and to be partaking in things. Now, don't get me wrong. I still have my personal demands with others around me. I expect to be respected because I show great respect towards other people in real life, because it's so important to do that. And of course, when I talk about respect, like if you just meet somebody, I was always raised to respect people, especially your elders. And so what I refer to it as cursory respect. It's your basic respect, that you show to another human being. That can be quickly lost the minute they open their mouths, because God only knows how many fucking morons I've run into in my life. And I'm never afraid to let them know. I have made enemies in my life, and rightly so. I think there was a time when I used to joke around that there's probably a handful of people out there who really fucking hate me, and I think they earned that right. But I think there's even more since I started doing this show and being more publicly outspoken with fuckheads on Twitter and on social media, period. But Gap, that is a great question, because it was the question on my mind this morning. And I don't see myself as essential in anybody's life. I really don't. I think that's why I fail in my relationships. Because I just I'm like, I think you'd be happier if I weren't here. Or, man, you really need somebody who's going to help fulfill you as a person. It's not going to be me. But I want to say good morning to you guys. Good morning, Gap. And a great question, even though you were joking. It's funny. That's really going through my head. Good morning, Lord Thoth. How are you, my friend? Oh, Mike is here, the Comic Relief Crusader. Hey, Martin, are you here yet?
Yes, I am.
Can you send Comic Crusader an invite so he can join us at the half hour? Jump in here with us right at the half hour mark, because I want to go through my morning ritual of talking to the chat, and I don't want you to have to sit through that. Lord Thoth is here. It's always good to see you. I'm so grateful when he shows up, man, because usually you're an evening guy, but to see you here in the morning, that's really nice. D. Bud Martin, good morning, my friend. Happy Friday. What a wonderful day. Now, I'm going to let you know in advance, Mikey Sutton was going to be on our show this afternoon, and then middle of the night, he messaged me to let me know his mom fell. And so we're all praying for his mom. So he's not going to be on the show today. But I did reach out to our good friend Cameron Pasha because I am really curious what he thinks of Alan Horn joining Warner Brothers. I think this is monumentally huge and is going to impact everybody. In fact, I just heard Facebook. Let me go check, see if that's Cameron messaging me. Or is that Keith? Oh, it's Keith. Let me get an invite for him. Because Keith's got some definite insider valuable views, because we were talking Alan Horn, and all really thanks to Keith here on Pop Culture Minefield for a long time, that he would be somebody that Warner should reach out to. And he nailed it, man. I would say that Keith even scooped it, because he was talking Alan Horn and Warner Brothers months ago. Started doing that. It's fucking amazing.
Gerry, I cannot send him the invite.
Alrighty, I'll let me go over to Twitter.
I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it. Messages. You guys must not be friends, so he needs to friend you or follow you or whatever is necessary.
Yes.
There you go.
Think so.
Drop in right at the 10:30 mark, Mike. But and if you look down in our description, you will see there is a campaign link and information on Michael. Michael is going to be homeless this weekend. They are packing, and Fat Steven and I have pushed so far. Wherever he is at, I would say 75% of what they've gotten so far is just from his and my work. And we've only got him at 645. And of course, that's not even a quarter of the way there. Got to get him and his family in a home. I can't stand the idea of any friend of mine being homeless, because technically right now I'm homeless. I have a place, I can do my show here. I can stay as long as I want, because these people are very close friends of mine. And I guess I'll just talk about it very cursory. I'm not going to get into the deep meaning of everything in it, but I separated from Deanna. We're still friends. It just wasn't working. What she wants and what I want are two totally different things. And I started feeling like she was having to do things to fit me in. And it's like, it's not how things work. It is not how things work. I don't think Mike listened to me. Mike is in the studio. It's at 10:30 at the half hour. Oh, you dick. Man, let's see. What is that? Kingsport Cal. Good morning, Kingsport Cal. And I thought I told you to leave me while I walk down to the beach. Tell me, how does it feel when your heart grows cold? NWO. And I know what that is. I hope everybody else knows what NWO is. I won't say the word. In words with attitude. with, wait, no, NWO, wait. Hold on, what is NWO? NWA is what I'm thinking. What is NWO? Nobody's going to help me here. Oh, shit. I don't know what the reference is, Kingsport Cal. Sorry, buddy. White. Let's see who that is. Let me go to our official pop culture channel and see who commented. Who is that? That's Stephanie Beatty. Good morning, Stephanie. Good morning. Sox Bulletin is here. Hey, Sox. Good morning, my friend. Monkey Jeebus, how you doing, buddy? Yes, I am. And look, I'm not too sure if True Crime Thursday is going to work. I'm a big true crime fan. And I was so appreciative of Martin and Danny doing the show. But I heard there was a couple of people that were unruly about it in the chat. And I blame myself for that, because maybe true crime is not one of the best things to cover on there. It's just, I'm fascinated with true crime. I watch way too much true crime shows. But let me know, guys. Leave comments in the chat on that previous show from yesterday. Let me know if that is a show that I should continue doing or not. I could just do the morning coffee because I can just talk to you guys all day long. Let's see. Sherry is here. Good morning, Sherry. The lovely Sherry. Let's see. Anybody else dropping in? Zachariah. Zachariah 315. And let's see. Keely Chow is here. Good morning, Keely. Wolverine is here. Wolverine, man, now there's a guy who gets it. That fucker leaves me a lot of comments on videos when he posts. And they're always good, man. Thank you, Wolverine. That is amazing. Good friend. You're a good friend. Sox Bulletin says Alan Horn is a great man to have over Warner Brothers again. And once again, he is retired. So what they've done is it's a major coup that they got him to agree to come and join the party. And Keith is absolutely right. This is the perfect guy to right the ship over there at Warner and help David Zaslav better understand fucking how movie studios work. Because Zaslav has no fucking idea. He really doesn't. He is absolutely a money guy. But he's made a lot of amazingly good choices. He got rid of everybody that was hurting business. Yeah, basic cursory respect for others, your elders. I always respect my elders. I worked in the nursing care field for a long time, and I loved taking care of the elderly. And in fact, my ex-girlfriend sent me that photo of me with that woman that I was taking care of. One of my residents that I took care of as a nurse. And it was one of the best experiences of my life, working in the nursing field, because I like giving of myself to other people. I like being in the service of other people. It's just something I was raised for. You know, my dad was disabled, so I took care of him from age 12 on. I was there taking care of my dad. I had to dress him. You know, he could put his shirt on, but when it came to below the waist, I'm the one. I helped him with his underwear, helped him with his pants. I put his socks and shoes on, tied his shoes for him. Eventually he gave up on shoes and started getting slip-on shoes because he felt bad. And every morning I would have to rub his back for about 20 minutes before school. And after school, I would come home. I would take care of meals when I became a teen. I would take care of everything in the kitchen. You know, I didn't just do my chores. I did everything in that house. I kept the bathroom clean, and I helped take care of my dad. And it was one of my favorite things to do in my life was help my dad. And it taught me that the medical field was natural for me. But it didn't hit me until Patty, because Patty was the one who really put it back in my head, my dream, because of a TV show called Emergency. I wanted to work in the medical field. and she helped me go to school. I became a nurse and continue my education. I became an EMT early on. I did that when I was actually a teenager, but it wasn't until later and going into the Army that I became a paramedic. So, but again, you know, this whole thing about questioning my relevance in this world, because I don't feel essential. I really don't. The only person I came close to feeling that way with was my daughter, Zoe, because there was nobody else for her. I was it. Tag, Gary, you're it. We've got a Kunin 1876. 1876 was, of course, our first, it was our centennial as a country. Gives us a BGN. What is that? Oh my gosh, what is BGN? BGN $2. Bulgarian. Wow, we have somebody in Bulgaria. That's amazing. Holy shit. Or as David Spade would say, amazing. It's not 10:30 yet. I don't want to make these guys sit on camera not talking while I go in my morning rant. All right, I'll add it. Fuck it. No, I'll add them. I told. Anyway, Kunin, thank you for your Bulgarian $10. He's or she says, I'm not going to assume your gender. Hi, everyone, especially with the name of Kunin. I don't know what that means, but 1876 in America means our centennial. That was our first 100 years as a nation. Hi, everyone. We sent here by Tom from Midnight's Edge. Tom's a very good friend of mine and Keith's. Question about Blade Runner TV series. Who will have the final word on the creative aspect of it, Scott or Amazon? What quality will it be? Look, Bezos is starting to see the flaw in the slaw over there at Amazon. I think that he's quite aware of the backlash he is getting over Lord of the Rings. And I think some of that backlash is accepted in his perspective because this is a major play by Bezos to take over that property. And if he could unwrite what Jackson did, I think he would. He wants to own that shit. He does. My problem is he has put it in unreliable hands, and he knows that there's a backlash. Also, on top of that, he is aware of how badly Soros and Biden have done, and it's hurting his company. And so you're seeing a guy who is a card-carrying commie. You don't believe me? Ask Cameron Pasha, too. He knows. Bezos is a commie. But he sees what's going on, and it's hurting his pocketbook. So I think ideas like working with Ridley Scott on Blade Runner TV series is huge. I think Ridley's coming with a certain amount of clout to do this. But we got to be careful with Ridley, because Ridley, I wouldn't even call Ridley a good idea guy. Alien wasn't his idea. That was Ron Shusett and Dan O'Bannon, two men I actually used to know. You know, well, Dan died, and I just lost contact with. I just forgot his name. The other guy, and they were really kind of roughed up over some of their films. Ron Shusett, because in fact, Ron Shusett has been kicked off of movie sets because he'll try to stand his ground with things that they're changing when they're making the film. And one of the films that they were kind of shut down on was Alien, because their idea was different than what we got. But I got to tell you, Ridley bringing in the gentleman who wrote the final script, the shooting script, nailed it. It's a haunted house in space movie instead of just a creature on a ship film. And it set the standard by what those kinds of films should do. The rules. It gave you rules that even when you do the right thing, you might fucking die. And then he broke his own rules with that first movie, Prometheus. And because almost every character in that film died from being stupid. The only character that wasn't was Idris Elba's character as the captain. His death was a self-sacrifice to stop the alien ship from going to Earth and killing all life. But every other character on that film died doing something stupid. I mean, when I say doing something stupid, I'm saying the equivalent of leaving the gas nozzle in your car and trying to drive off with it and then blowing up in a fiery ball of death. That's dying stupid. You know, putting your head in a crocodile's mouth, kind of stupid, because that's the level of stupid that was in Prometheus. But Ridley Scott, in charge of a Blade Runner TV series, is really concerning for me. But at the same time, I'm always like, oh, I hope he does it the right way this time. Because Ridley, like what he did for HBO, Raised by Wolves was probably one of the best sci-fi shows of the last decade. And definitely in the top 10 of the last 30 years. That was good science fiction. But only time's going to tell. And I do believe that because of the lessons of what's going on with Lord of the Rings, that Bezos and Amazon's going to allow him a lot of latitude to do his thing. They'll be smart to do that. If he brings in, and what my hope is, he's been working more and more with his kids. You know, sadly, he doesn't have his brothers anymore. His first brother died, and because of his brother's death, we got Blade Runner. And then Tony killed himself. And so now I love the fact that he's turning to his children, because it's always been a family thing for him. If you didn't know that about Ridley, Scott Free wasn't Ridley Scott's production company. It was him and Tony and his kids. They all work under that banner of Scott Free. And that's what was going on with Raised by Wolves. And I'm hoping he does the same thing, because his kids are fucking smart. They're very good storytellers, very good at what they do with direction. And if you've never checked out their work, go do it. I mean, I would like you to stay to the end of the show, but if you have to go now, go do it now. Go check it out. But leave us playing in the background, for Christ's sake. I don't want to lose your viewership. But there you go, Akunin. That is my response to your question. I think that Scott's going to have the final say. If they're smart, they're going to let him have it. So let me go into this. Akunin, for you, I have some new videos. Which one should I play? Now, I said this last night, so I might play this one. No, I'm going to give you a good one. I'm going to give you a good one. Here you go. For your Bulgarian $10, you get Palmer.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
There you go. Thank you so much for your contribution, and it's deeply appreciated. Good morning, Dr. Dragon. It's good to see you. Have I missed anybody? I want to make sure I say hi to everybody. Let's see. Anima is here. Good morning, Anna. Good morning, Penny. 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 Let's see. I don't want to miss anybody. And Stephanie says she loves true crime. I do too. That's why I want to do a show. I wasn't unruly. I just dipped out. Danny killed it, though. No, Danny, I saw a little bit of it, and Danny was knocking it out of the park. And I joked later when Martin talked about it, I said, yeah, why don't I get that Danny on the shows instead of interrupting Danny? Yeah. Look, Danny, I told Danny, I said, I see you, man. I see you, Danny. And that's why I like having him on. I see who he is. I see his value. No, I felt worthless before that, my friend. because it has led to the end of almost every relationship. I'm valuable to me, and I see my value in the things that I do. But when it comes to being in people's lives, I have ghosted a lot of my friends over the years. And this is a fact. I've ghosted a lot of my friends. I left Virginia, and a lot of people thought I was dead. I just left one day, joined the Army. 3 people knew. That was it. All my other friends had no fucking clue what the fuck was going on, that I was leaving. And what happened was I fell in love with one of my best friends that she and I had been friends since we were kids, little kids. And it was one of those weird fucking moments. She's going to marry a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. And he's still a very good friend of mine. She was going to marry him. And I'm sitting there with her at her fucking bridal fitting. She came out in that dress in front of me. And I suddenly got sick, nauseous. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? You know, and I sat and did some internal talking to myself. What the fuck's wrong with you? And then I realized, oh my God, you fucking idiot. You're in love with her? You know, and I called myself some choice names. One starts with an F, and it's not fucker. And she came to see me one weekend, and something inappropriate kind of happened. Didn't go very far. And I realized, oh my God, what the fuck am I going to do? You know? And I got to be honest with you, I knew I was fucked up, you know, from my childhood. And I was no use to her. And I was not going to be the person to break up what was happening there. And what makes it even worse is she picked up one day when I called her. And her answering machine recorded our entire conversation. And somebody in her fiance's family found out about it. Being nosy, they wouldn't listen while they were over at her house. Stole the tape, is what I was told. They stole the tape. And tried to use me to break them up. And I wasn't going to be a party of this, and I just fucking left. I had gotten that notification in the mail that I was no longer eligible to be drafted. And I'm like, I'm going in the Army. That's the answer to this problem. I was unhappy with the situation with my son. I was told that I was not a parent. I'm his father, but I'm not the parent. I'm only good for my child support. That any opinion I have doesn't matter on his upbringing. And my divorce, or the custody agreement that I signed, the fine print on it was thrown in my face. And I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have trusted you, is what so it was an ugly situation. And then this situation came up, and it was like, I got to go. What do I do? Notification from Department of Defense. And I'm like, I'm joining the Army. 26 years old, and I went in the Army. And I ghosted almost everybody but 3 people. Jim Woodward, Mike Beatty, and Vic Armstrong were the only ones that knew. And you've met Vic, Keith. Mm-hmm. Vic and Jim and Mike were the only 3 that knew that I left and went in the Army. Because I actually talked to Vic the day before I left. But hey, the Memes of Destruction is here. Peter Vickman fan site. Good morning. Cece is here. Good morning, Cece. Wolverine. Yeah, Floral. What Floral? Racism. He's so not racist, but he said some shit twice on the show that just, because he's a very free verse guy, man. He speaks very honestly, very, it's got a lot of candor. If you don't pick that up from Danny, you know, it's something that I relish with people that I know. You're a friend of mine when you show that kind of candor. Like, I will start caring about you. I love very candid, straightforward, shoot from the hip kind of people, which surprises me that I like Keith so much. So there it is. We're at the half-hour mark of the show. I'm done with my morning rant. Real Wade Nation, what's up, man? Yes, Marcos is here. This is huge what happened. So I wanted to get more into who Alan Horn is and what's so significant with him and why he's important. And, you know, somebody's phone just buzzed. Or they've got a vibrator, like one of those pocket pussies.
Maybe both.
Maybe both. So, good morning, Mike, also known as Comic Relief
Crusader.
God, I couldn't remember that third word. I hate it when people get 3-word nicknames. Like, good God, Courtney. I just call Courtney. I'm like, your long name is too fucking long. I'm not going to fucking remember it.
Blame my 12-year-old daughter. She came up with it.
I blame your fucking daughter.
How can you pick on a little girl?
Because I am a little girl. Anyway.
What kind of monster are you?
This morning, we are going to be talking about Alan Horn, man. Something was said to me, I think it was Wolverine said it, that, you know, this guy's pushing 80. And I'm like, yeah, but he's pushing at 80 like it's 60.
Yeah.
He's still got a fucking lot of energy in him.
I think
but he was serious about his retirement.
Oh yeah. Almost every single time he did it. That first time he was being pushed out. But the second time he did it, he was serious. You know, someone has to be really good if you are the CEO of a major corporation and you fly out to track down someone who just retired and you ask them to consider coming to work for you, and they do.
Yeah, because he's like 79, right?
Well, he's
again,
79 now.
I just said he's pushing 80.
Yeah,
like it's 60.
Yeah,
he's a very busy dude, always doing shit. Definitely, that dude has not lost anything up here.
He's also into martial. He's into martial arts. He made the cover of one of their major magazines without a shirt on. This dude was just jacked. So he knows what he's doing. He's got it going on. And given all of the success he's had in his career, especially these last 20 years for both Warner Brothers and for Disney.
Yeah, because this guy's been in the industry since 1973. You know, let me just tell you something about him personally. Like, Horn was raised in Long Island, New York, in a place called Riverhead. He graduated from Union College in Schenectady. That was back in the year I was born. He received an MBA from Harvard Business School in 1971. He was captain of the United States Air Force. This guy's a fucking veteran.
Wait. Now let's stop right there. This part right here is something that you rarely find with anybody currently
in
involved
Hollywood.
In anything.
Military veteran.
In Hollywood. So this to me, along with the Harvard Business School, that to me shows you that you are dealing with a different kind of person.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. He is not like
he's used to being in command, and he knows fucking business.
He's hardcore.
So, I don't mean to interrupt, but I mean I wanted to make sure to.
So let's begin this. Horn worked at Norman Lear's television production company, Tandem Productions. Now, for those of you not aware of this, Tandem is the Blade Runner partnership. They were the guys. The only person not directly involved was Norman Lear. But Bud Yorkin and Gerry Perenchio were his partners, and they were the Blade Runner partnership. Norman was busy with TV, so he took no part in Blade Runner. So he worked for these guys, the latter of which was chairman before becoming president of the 20th Century Fox in '86. And so he was with Embassy Communications. And my God, I mean, he was the chairman of Embassy Communications within the first decade of his time in Hollywood. Soon after it was acquired by Rupert Murdoch, he was one of the founders of Castle Rock Entertainment in '87. Yeah. There he oversaw films including A Few Good Men, The Green Mile, When Harry Met Sally, as well as, the TV sitcom Seinfeld.
All hits.
Horn became president and COO at Warner Brothers in 1999. When he ran the studio in partnership with Chairman and CEO Barry Meyer for 12 years under Horn's leadership, Warner Brothers had many hits, including the Harry Potter film franchise, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy.
Whoa. Let me stop you right there. Now, you remember how on our show I've always said that Warner Brothers had this whole thing with DC Comics, and that there originally was a phase 1 of DC Comics.
Yeah,
that covers this period. Now, a lot of these weren't big hits, but
he also was in charge when they made Superman Returns. But yes. I want to finish this because he was also the executive producer on all 3 films, as well as the Hobbit trilogy. At age 68, Horn was forced to retire as president and COO of Warner Brothers at the behest of Time Warner chairman Jeffrey Bukes, who wanted to groom younger talent to take over the studio, with Meyer relinquishing his role as studio CEO in 2013. This is really when we started seeing things falling apart.
And the person who took over
Kevin
in 2013 was Kevin Tsujihara.
You say it. I'm not going to say it.
Bag of smashed assholes.
He's part of the problem.
He was an idiot.
Basically, the only reason why he still didn't have a job was because basically he was caught diddling with somebody who wasn't his wife. Turns out she was also doing like 3 or 4 other CEOs and other companies.
Yeah, somebody was a cuck. Yeah. So, but the cool part of this is within a handful of years, Bob Iger had finally convinced Disney to bring him on and for him to come out of retirement, because he actually retired when he left Warner the first time. And so Bob Iger, one of the smartest things he did was to bring him in. And to remind people, it was Alan Horn who got sick of James Gunn's bullshit and fired him.
Well, and part of the reason
why acting like a real fucking boss, he fired him.
Bob Iger brought in Alan Horn because the guy who he was replacing, Rich Ross, had basically started having conflicts with the Pixar executives. And so bringing in Alan Horn, now remember, this is a guy that used to be in control. This is also a guy whose philosophy was such that if you were working as someone who knew what they were doing, that was running a division, he expected you to know what your job was.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I'm going to point out, because Sox asked the very good question right here. How do you force out Alan Horn? The man was a golden goose, and it's so fucking true. That was stupid on their part. Absolutely. Fucking, look, Kevin was a terrible, terrible guy, but Jeffrey forcing him out from Time Warner was one of the worst decisions. And I don't know whatever happened to Bukes, but he deserved to be fucking fired for that stupid move. Because it led to the last over a decade of fucking bad ideas.
Well, and again, what I was trying to say earlier is that he oversaw a bunch of DC films, 2 of which became Academy Award. I mean, 3 of which became Academy Award favorites. Mm-hmm. Okay, The Dark Knight won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. But here's the thing: you also had the Tom Hanks's movie that he did with the late Paul Newman, which is Paul Newman's final major role in Road to Perdition. That's a DC movie. And also the History of Violence. And Ed Harris, I think, got nominated. That's also a big DC movie. Alan Horn knows how to pick stuff out. And you get gold where you're not expecting it with him.
Well, exactly, because he's the guy behind $1 Million Baby,
mm-hmm.
Flags of Our Fathers, Letters to Iwo Jima. God, what else was it he oversaw with Clint Eastwood? Trouble with the Curve.
Yeah.
I think that no, he was gone before that one. But he a whole bunch of films that he did with Clint Eastwood. I'm trying to remember. There was another film that he oversaw with him that was a huge hit. Gran Torino. He was still working there when that was done. So look at all of those films, and almost every single one of them was a nominee or a winner.
Wow. I mean,
for Warner.
It's like being a veteran and a patriot of some sort had something to do with it. I can't quite put my finger on it. I could be wrong.
You can't put your finger on it or in it.
Or in it. Ooh.
You look at what his resume is and all of the hits that he had under his belt, and you compare that to someone like, say, I don't know, let me pick a name out of that, Kathleen Kennedy. The difference is that Kathleen Kennedy is not a creative. She is just pretty much just a management person. She is able to put together a group of people and get them to work this way or that way. Okay.
Oh shit! There were 2 more films. I just looked them up that I forgot to mention that he was the executive over. True Crimes.
Oh yeah.
And one of my favorite silly Clint Eastwood movies, Space Cowboys. I just get goosebumps saying the name.
I never finished watching that.
Well, here's the other thing. He knows television because he was
a War Monkey.
He was a production supervisor on All in the Family, Good Times.
Well, yeah, because he was with Tandem Entertainment at that time.
Yes.
You know,
Hello,
Red
Larry,
Fox, man.
The Jeffersons, Different
That
Strokes.
was a good show. Yep.
You know, look, this guy, just like was said in the chat, man, he was a golden goose. So it was a dumb mistake. He comes to Disney and look at the shit that was going on while he was there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, he is the guy who stepped up and fired James Gunn for, look, man, I'm not saying you're a pedophile. I'm saying that your fucking jokes are not cool.
Yeah.
Knock it off. You're fired.
But
then when he saw a change in James Gunn, he then stepped up and fucking hired him back. Nobody else hired him back. He hired him back.
Yeah. And that says something. If you now have both of these gentlemen at Warner Brothers and you got Gunn out there trying to recruit people like Jon Favreau to bring them over to Warner Brothers.
Disney is not taking care of its people the way it should. It's not nurturing the Marvel creative environment. It's allowing Victoria Alonso too much fucking gravitas with what they're doing.
And KK.
This is why you're getting all the woke shit. I mean, She-Hulk throwing a rock further than Hulk. I mean, like,
this is all going to be a feminism movie entirely. It's a
the only thing
movie.
I will tell you is this: it's at least not a bait and switch film, like Ms. Marvel was not a bait, because you're going to get the hero that you were promised from the very beginning. When it's a woman, no bait and switch. But if there's a guy involved as a lead, and they need to use that person to launch it, it's a bait and switch.
Always.
Because with Victoria Alonso, she will fight Feige all the way. And there's Dork Knight. He's here.
Hey.
I didn't think you were going to be here today. I read your message.
Yeah, no. So I got a new mic. Hopefully it sounds good. And I'm doing a 14-day trial. So this is that. Let me know if my connection looks the same, worse, better.
It looks weird right now. It's very choppy.
Oh, really?
But you sound so handsome.
Could be your internet.
Yeah, your audio.
Well, that's what I'm
good,
saying.
but...
I'm doing a 14-day trial with the new ISP.
Oh, just the audio. Well, the audio sounds fine.
No.
But I'm going to tell you, like when you're moving, you're going like this.
Okay, that's what I'm concerned about is the internet because I'm trying
Move
a different internet
like
provider.
Okay, now it's a little more normal, but you're getting that weird HD thing.
Shit.
Where
It
doesn't seem like natural movement.
Yeah.
So,
I bought a couple mics yesterday, but this one doesn't work, and I have to take it back today if I can't get it working because I only have 24 hours to take it back.
Gotcha. Well, definitely do some testing. You'll be on our show this afternoon, I'm sure. I need to go see if I've heard back from Cameron yet. Nope, nothing from Cameron. We will not have, in case you guys missed it earlier, Mikey Sutton's mother fell in the middle of the night and let me know that he will not be able to join us this afternoon for talking about Alan Horn again. This week saw I did not expect this. We got two major coups this week. Michael DeLuca, that was announced on Monday, and then fucking Alan Horn yesterday. And Keith will tell you, I was blown away in the chat going, really? 1 week we get all this? I was expecting this shit later. 1 week we get this because David Zaslav wants August 1st to take off. That is the big thing.
Yeah.
Alan Horn starts the 1st of August.
Yep. And so, again, that I think is part of the reason why the whole thing with Hamada was kind of a surprise. Getting Hamada out as ASAP.
Even though I still think he's working there, he's got nothing to do. He doesn't manage anybody. He just sits in an office going, hey, do you guys remember me? I'm Hamada. Remember me, Hamada? Anyway,
I think the only person...
this part from 2012 at the urging of the Walt Disney Company chairman at the time, CEO Bob Iger, Horn was lured out of retirement to become chairman of Walt Disney Studios, replacing Rich Ross, who was dismissed after conflicts with Pixar executives. And I'm very curious about that because this is right around the time they're having a lot of infighting at Pixar, and it's become a shithole place to work now. Horn established a successful working relationship with Pixar, Marvel Studios, Lucasfilm, and 20th Century Fox Studios, which operated with great autonomy under Disney's overall ownership. Because this is back when Keith and I said they were given a lot of rope. And the whole idea was that they either succeed with that rope or hang themselves. But the problem is somewhere along the lines, management got fucked up. And this is, of course, what led to him leaving. Disney's overall ownership gave him a lot of autonomy while also overseeing strong box office releases from Walt Disney Pictures and Walt Disney's Animation Studios. In 2017, Alan said of his past professional success, quote, I have this theory that whoever is working in a job deserves to stay unless they prove that they don't deserve to be in the job. End quote. On May 1st, 2019, Alan Horn was given the added title of Chief Executive Creative Officer. That's the CCO of Walt Disney Studios. And in December 2020, it was announced effective of 2021, January 1st, that Alan Bergman would become the chairman of the Walt Disney Studios, while Horn would remain as the studio's chief creative officer. In October of 2021, it was announced that Horn would be retiring. Second time in his lifetime, and then the position was filled, and thus endeth the story. So the problem is, I think that he was getting shut out on a lot of things, which is when we started seeing a lot of weird shit starting in 2018, 2019 with Marvel.
I would like to believe that on some level, but something tells me that I think he was just wanting to do something else. I mean, he had
You think he just wanted to get the fuck out?
I think at his age, I think he thought to himself, you know what, this is a good time to leave. You know, he trained his replacement, and he decided, you know, now's a good time for me to go. I think he likes not having to really punch a clock anymore. And I think that's the reason why he's only consulting with Warner Brothers. If he were 20 years younger, I think he would have tried to basically come in and do the same exact job he had done at Disney for Warner Brothers again. But I mean, he's an older man, you know, and he's given up retirement now twice. So he likes to work, but there's a difference. As a consultant and an advisor, you're not really having to really answer to too many people. And
no, it's not an official position, really.
Yeah.
And so therefore, and I do believe Zaslav has probably said this in the background. Correct me if you think I'm wrong, Keith. You listen to what he says. If he suggests something, you take it as written commandment.
Yeah.
From me. And I'm expecting that to be treated that way. And Alan Horn listened to. And he's back where I think he belonged all along, was Warner Brothers. Well, because some of the most effective work was while he was working with them.
I think he had a right idea when I think they greenlit the Justice League film and then eventually yanked it. But I mean, had they stuck with some of those ideas, things would be kind of different. But Alan Horn has his own way of doing things, and it's worked. Okay? He's not only been successful, he has been, box office-wise, he's a freaking magician. And the fact that he managed to do something that even Kevin Feige couldn't do, which was get Academy Awards, major Academy Awards for DC material. And that's still something that DC Films, DC Studios can lord over for right now. The MCU, which is, it's not just one award. It's not just two. They got 4 of those things, and 2 of them for acting. So, 2.
I'm reading the Marshall's comments. That's good stuff. Good morning, Marshall. Good morning.
I just think.
Well, I also saw that Chris Rock kind of said that he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care what Will says. I know that there's something wrong with Will, but that was the fucking internationally televised fucking event, and he fucking got up in the middle of a show and slapped someone that was one of the hosts. He's basically, and I do say this as funny as it sounds, it really is the worst heckler ever. Because that's all Will did. He was a heckler. He didn't like his joke. I don't like your joke, man. So I'm going to get up there and I'm going to physically assault you in front of billions of fucking people. A huge dick move. And I don't mean in a good way. But it hurt him. It hurt his career. And I still can tell you that I'm a big fan of Will Smith and love him as an actor. But that was a huge fuck up doing that shit. And he's going to pay a price for it. And
whoa, Wolverine. Whoa, dude. No. You're getting things kind of twisted, homie.
Yeah, one of them was he oversaw Superman Returns.
You know,
that was under his control of Warner.
You know, it may not have been the kind of superhero movies that you like, but those were all comic book films. You know, and as I've been saying, DC Comics is more than just superheroes. If Warner Brothers would actually figure that out and operate like that, they'd be in a much better position. You know, Marvel has basically backed themselves into a corner just focusing on their superhero stuff. But to have a Best Supporting Actor as well as a Best Actor Academy Award, I can't think of any Marvel film, no matter how much money it made at the box office, that has done that. You know, you got to respect that. You got to respect what all that does overall. And to actually make a comic book film and turn it into a movie that people liked enough to be able to give an award to is also something kind of major in that. So, you know, I can see you, you know, I can understand you not knowing too much of that, but you got to give it up. You got to give it up to them. MCU's just got all that money, and they deserve that money. They entertained all of us. They entertained the world, and nobody's trying to say they didn't. I give it up to Kevin Feige all the time as far as, you know, being able to put that together, because nobody could put together a run like that. You know, although part of it, a small portion of that should also go to someone like Alan Horn, who allowed Kevin Feige to be able to continue to do what he did. Because anybody else in that position would have started messing with you as soon as you had any kind of success, because that's the way Hollywood works.
Yeah.
They let you do what you need to do the first time, and the next thing you know, you're getting notes, even if you're a huge success, because everybody wants their fingerprints in it. So
exactly, everybody wants their own little recognition. Oh, I had something to do with this.
Not me. If I could have a choice, I would like to have my dick in that instead, because it's more. I don't know. Because I'm pretty proud of it.
Hard and dry.
Weird thing to be proud of, but I am proud of it. No.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got this mic working. Nice. So now I have two working mics. How does this one sound?
Sounds fine. It's a little tinny, but it still sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. Wolverine says Oscar DC films weren't superhero films. That's what I meant, aside from Dark Knight. The average person wouldn't know a history of violence as a comic book. V for Vendetta is another one that Warner produced.
Road to Perdition.
Under him. Yeah, Road
is
to
another
Perdition.
one. And the most recent Academy Award went to Joker, which is superhero adjacent.
Yes.
I'm getting messages from Cameron. Hold on, guys. Go ahead, keep talking, Keith.
Okay. Anyway, look, what you have now is with Michael DeLuca having temporary oversight of what is now DC Studios, not DC Films. What one of the things that was covered in the Hollywood Reporter article about Alan Horn was that Michael DeLuca and he will be Michael DeLuca will be heading up DC Studios, and Alan Horn will have a job in helping to guide him in that. Okay, look, this is just parts coming together. And it's still going to take a while to get everything that a lot of fans want to see. As I told Gerry yesterday, you're looking at probably 2024 is when you're going to start seeing the projects, the result of all of this work start to show some results. Everything we've seen up to this point, all of the stuff that you saw at San Diego Comic-Con this year and then going into next year is all under the purview of Walter Hamada and other people who are no longer employed by Warner Brothers. That's the long and short of it. And of these projects that we are seeing, both in terms of the silver screen and on the small screen, not all of these projects will be moving forward beyond that. That's just the way it is. Alan Horn is a big, big friend and fan of Zack Snyder and Ben Affleck. You combine that with Michael DeLuca, who is a big Snyder fan and a much bigger OG comic book fan because he's a Jack Kirby fan. And then David Zaslav himself, who's a Snyderverse fan and a fan of Henry Cavill. You're seeing the writing on the wall. It doesn't get any plainer than that. It's just going to take time. You know, everybody's wanting to rush this. And
getting a lot of air. Who's that? Is that you, Danny?
That might be me. Did you hear me?
That's you.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Hold on. Up there. Don't mute yourself. I was going to mute you to make sure, but it is you.
Yeah.
I have great news. Cameron will be on tomorrow. He's under the weather, so he's not going to stay long.
Okay.
He won't be here for the full 2 hours, but he will join us when he's done with a business call. He has a business call in the afternoon. But here's some other news. He's going to do my UFO show next week.
Yes.
Oh, nice. Is this any better?
But he can't do it live because it's too early for him. He's asleep.
Yeah.
So he said what he's going to do is Tuesday, we're going to record him, and then I will go live and play our discussion live to you guys on Wednesday for UFO Wednesday.
Cameron,
you still hear the weird noise
Nope,
from me?
sounds fine.
Is this better? Does it still sound tinny?
I just said it sounds great. Let's go. Let's
Sorry.
go.
Sorry.
Give you the thumbs up. You sound great.
right now.
So Keith, keep going, man.
Yeah.
This shit's important.
Marshall, let me at least answer your question as far as Batgirl is concerned. Batgirl is one of the problems at this point. This is a project that was put together by Walter Hamada. Okay? So that's one strike against the Batgirl project. The everybody that's been hired that is in that gray area, you know, kind of Walter Hamada trying to make it seem like they're part of the Snyderverse, but not. If you're in that gray area, you should probably dust off your resume because there's no guarantee they're going to keep you unless what you're doing becomes a major, major hit. They got no reason to keep you. Why? Because David Zaslav himself, as I've said before, is a big Snyderverse fan, meaning that with Alan Horn and with Michael DeLuca, they're going to make sure that Snyder gets exactly what he wants. Snyder has said in interviews before, the one or two interviews he gave before Zack Snyder's Justice League hit, anything that was not his is gone. So if you were hired thinking that you're going to grandfather yourself into the Snyderverse, Snyder is not having it. Period. You're gone. The Supergirl that you're going to see in The Flash, she's gone. Everybody hired outside of Margot Robbie in her Birds of Prey movie, you're gone. Batgirl, gone. I'm sorry if you fell in love with these people, but unless these
even Mary, what's the girl that played Mary Elizabeth Winstead?
You're gone. You weren't.
Man,
you can't grant. You're not being allowed into that.
Yeah, and what's really sad to me is I love Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yes, I do too.
I've got a huge crush on that woman.
But she's gone. You can't. You're stepping on someone's toes who didn't. Why should he have to plan for people and things that he didn't plan for that was actually done by people who basically wanted to get rid of him? That's what it comes down to. He's not. I'm sure he appreciates all these actors and actresses who got hired, but you know what? He didn't hire them. They were hired by people who are no longer working there. So if you got a problem with that, you take it up with Walter Hamada and Toby Emmerich and Ann Sarnoff. They did this on purpose, knowing that this was going to be the case. They did it as a dare to make Snyder look bad because they knew that that was his thing. They knew he was going to do this, so they did it in advance so they would look bad in the press. But in the end, it's his. You know, I mean, if they gave full control of Star Wars back to George Lucas tomorrow, do you expect George Lucas to have to use all of the stuff he didn't come up with? He'd get rid of it. He'd cut it. Anybody that he didn't hire, any character he didn't create, he'd find a creative way to get rid of it and get back to what he was doing. That's it. That's all. That's all I'm saying. This is not a comment on any of these actors or writers, well, mainly the writers and producers, but anybody that worked on those films. It's not a comment anyway on them. It's just, hey, you know, Snyder has a way that he wants to work, and everybody that hired these people knew that about Snyder. That's the difference. When he comes back to finish Justice League 2 and 3, he's going to want to work with the people that he wanted to work with and the people that he hired for those particular roles. Now, if they were fired by Warner Brothers, it'll probably be up to him to recast someone to replace them. But if they were hired by Walter Hamada or Toby Emmerich, he's not going to use those actors. So if you need help figuring this out, just anybody new that was hired for a particular role after Zack Snyder got fired, who you think is in the Snyderverse, they're not, and they're going to be gone. It's that simple.
Yeah, and this is what you and I've been talking about, you know. I'm telling you right now, if nothing is in production with JJ at the helm, it's not going to happen.
I think Alan Horn had even would advise Zaslav to just cut ties with J.J. Abrams. You know, he's going to want too much. See, now J.J. is going to have to talk to Michael DeLuca.
Morning, Deanna.
But Alan Horn will be advising Michael DeLuca on how to handle J.J. Abrams. I think Abrams can see the writing on the wall. Okay. He's just going to have to run back to either Disney or Paramount or somebody who's going to give a damn. And sorry for my language, but somebody's going to care about what he has to say. And that'll be
what
it.
The fuck, man? You say damn and apologize?
Right. What the fuck? You can hear me, right, guys?
This is a fuck bomb show.
And then,
he's being civilized.
And as far as the Marshal asking about the Batman cartoon, yeah, they're still doing that, but it's JJ and his acolyte doing that. Even though you do have some people connected with Batman the animated series that are a part of it, it's really JJ's version of Batman. And
we're not expecting it to be true, good, or canon.
Yeah, you know what? I hope it is good. I wish the best for everybody involved in it. Okay, but let me tell you, I'm not expecting it to be good. So, you know, if it is, I'll be shocked. I'll be happy, and you know, but I mean, it's the same. It's the director of The Batman and his original boss, J.J. Abrams, along with Bruce Timm. And let's see, who else? Who's the other creative? Comic book writer, creative of The Winter Soldier. Oh, man. Forgot his name, but you know what? Doesn't matter. Some of you will watch, some of you will like it, some of you won't. And that's just the way it is. And with Zaslav in charge, Zaslav's just going to, like, if it's not doing any good, he'll get rid of it. And then that'll be it for JJ. You know, the JJ experiment will be done. So, look, 2024, as I keep saying, is the magical year. That's the year when you're actually going to see a lot of the stuff done by the post Walter Hamada DC come into effect. Now Gerry says he believes that certain things will still come in the latter half of 2023. I'm beginning to believe he's right on
Which
that
Gerry?
one. Well, the host.
Me. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, what I said to you last night, I believe that we'll see the first payoff for this in the possibly the end of the finality of next summer, not this summer, but next summer, and even more possibly for the Christmas season.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see the first payoffs from this work. It's going to start August 1st.
Yeah. There'll be some stuff done to correct a few things. I like the fact that we have a Blue Beetle film. I don't like the fact that they had to do some really underhanded things to get the film made, and creating new characters that do not exist at all within the comic to be a part of what they're doing, when Blue Beetle has all these characters and you didn't choose any of them. If Snyder decides he wants to use Blue Beetle, that'll be something. Something tells me he won't. Thank you, Socks. Ed Brubaker. That's it. Ed Brubaker is a part of the creative team for this new Batman animated series from JJ. So it's going to be darker. It's definitely going to be a lot darker. They're going to try to go a particular way with this. And I think that's part of the reason why you've got some of the people that worked on Batman the animated series that are thinking, hey, this could be something kind of cool, because it's going to allow them to go a little darker. Something tells me they're going to try to do the Batman treatment on this. This is going to be almost an animated version of the Batman. So they're going to make changes to character. Basically, whatever you saw in that movie, plus or minus a few things, will probably be some of the things you'll see echoed in this animated cartoon. It'll also have a few of its own little things because JJ's there. He doesn't want to completely use everything that was seen in that movie, but I think that'll be his guidepost for that series. They say that they're going to try to use everything in the comics. So it looks like JJ is going to try to score some points with comic book fans by trying to basically do something that Gerry and I have been saying for years that DC should have done, which is use the whole of the cast of characters that are available with the character of Batman, rather than just using one or two. So,
and the other thing they need to do, and maybe Alan's the right guy for this, start bringing up characters that they're not using of color and of different cultures.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
Under Alan Horn, I would sure like to see.
I would like to think that they will, but since this animated thing was done before Alan Horn,
no, I'm talking about with Alan Horn.
Oh yeah.
I would like to see them start bringing forward some of the multicultural characters that they just seem to have forgotten exist in the DC animated and comic verse.
Yeah.
So,
well, again, I hope Alan Horn.
Oh, Polly's here. Good morning, Polly.
Hey, Polly.
Hola, mi amigo. ¿Qué tal?
I'm hoping that Alan Horn will have Michael DeLuca go and try to bring in some more milestone stuff, which is, again, to me, anybody thinking about hiring Walter Hamada for anything, if you get into this part of his resume, you need to ask him point blank, why didn't you use any of the milestone characters?
Yeah, that would be nice.
That's a good question. It's the same kind of question I would ask Kathleen Kennedy about Star Wars. You're all about giving women positions of authority and importance. How come you didn't hire one woman director to direct any of the Star Wars films, outside of hiring one recently to make a now delayed film about a group of X-Wing pilots?
Oh, because that would be too hard.
I mean, these are
because I would be putting effort into it. And I don't think Kathleen Kennedy is about putting effort into anything unless it advances her own agenda.
You know what? Yeah, but also she's just a manager. She's not a creative at all.
Well, no,
it'd be different if she were a creative, because then she'd find creative ways to do.
Well, yeah, she's all about barking the orders, and that's about it, right? When it comes to creativity, she's like dead in the ground. She doesn't have an original thought, except when it comes to personal gain, and that's it. That's it.
Unfortunate. Because
it is, because now the whole fandom, the whole geekosphere, patent pending trademark, is suffering for it.
Again, I want to let you guys know Cameron Pasha will be joining us today, this afternoon for TGIF to talk about Alan Horn some more and give us some insight from, working in the studio system. He's going to have a valuable opinion on this. Looking forward to it. He is sick, so don't be surprised if he sniffles or sneezes.
I'll give him my best.
He's got the flu. Yeah, I told him, man, I just had my ass kicked this year with the flu. Flu kicked my ass for 5 fucking weeks. This many weeks.
Wow,
I can't count to 5, but it's this many. That's how many weeks I was down. I still did the show, but I remember I was constantly muting the mic to sneeze and shit. So he will be here this afternoon. He's got a business call, and as soon as he's done on that call, he's going to join us. So he may not be there right at when we start the show this afternoon, but he will be joining us. And that's a perfect trade for losing Mikey. And I'm, of course, praying for Mikey's mom. That's terrible that she fell. I hope she's okay.
Hello, Das Wolfen.
Das Wolfen, John is here. Hello, Das Wolfen. Would you like to touch my monkey?
Now, as I had stated earlier, there, with Alan Horn coming back, this is definitely big news for everyone in Hollywood. All those people that haven't been paying attention, hopefully a lot of you who thought that Gerry and I didn't know what we were talking about are now, do we have your attention now?
Holy shit. Yeah, I know, because we've been talking a lot of stuff. And the sad part, the only thing where we have a misfire wasn't our fault, was Sherry Redstone with Star Trek, because she wanted to fix it.
Yeah.
And fucking Les Moonves fucked her.
Basically.
They should have been smarter in how they let him go. They were not smart.
The Hollywood Reporter, like everyone else, decided to do the story about Alan Horn. And I want to read a part of this from their contribution to the story. Now 79, Horn's career has taken yet another turn as Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav has named him as a consultant at the company. In announcing the move, Zaslav praised Horn as one of the most respected studio executives in the industry. Horn talked to the Hollywood Reporter about his plans to work with Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdy, co-chairpersons and CEOs of the Warner Brothers Pictures Group, and other aspects of his new position. Hollywood Reporter, how do you perceive your role? Alan Horn, the word we're using is consultant, and that's exactly how I see myself. I see myself as an advisor, a consigliere, if you will. I'm there to help, to offer advice as appropriate. My role is to support David Zaslav and his team, including Mike and Pam, and my old friends at Warner Brothers. I know a lot of people there, and I just want to offer support. Hollywood Reporter, will you read scripts? I will read as required. I haven't yet met with Mike and Pam to really talk about how I can best be helpful. David is a very experienced businessman, a very successful leader and manager, but he's never run a movie company, and I'm going to be available to help fill in the blanks. Will you have a role with respect to DC? The unit is currently overseen by DeLuca and Abdi, but permanent leadership remains unresolved. I think we can all agree that DC constitutes a canon of intellectual property that is extremely important. I would expect it to be involved in DC. Will you have a role in greenlighting projects? I would be an advisor to the greenlight process. My understanding is that David has the final word. My role will be to contribute to the thinking. I really am trying to stay in a lane as an advisor consultant and offer my experience and my opinion about things, including greenlighting things. But it's going to be their decision, David and Mike and Pam, how they decide to work it out. What about other areas? You're very familiar with Warner's. It's true. David is responsible for all things Warner Brothers, but it's true that I spent 12 years there. To the extent that I can contribute to the thinking, of course I will, whatever the subject. But the intention going in is to focus on the production of theatrical motion pictures for traditional theatrical release and streaming. The company has a big commitment to motion picture production. Did you and Zaslav talk about windows? I believe in the traditional theatrical experience. I also know that streaming is here to stay. It's a new normal. And I think these are all still decisions in progress for every studio. They have to decide the balance. That will be David's decision. He's the CEO, the commanding general. How much time will you spend on this job? I've been really unplugged for several full months now in retirement. I'm hoping this arrangement will give me a kind of revived, balanced in life. This is kind of a half-time thing. I need to be with my family. Also, I'm working hard to define this in a way that is acceptable to David Zaslav and acceptable to me as well. The words we used are helping in transition, because he's making the transition from a highly experienced manager to the world of theatrical motion pictures. That's where I spent many decades. Hopefully I can be useful. We're taking it slow. Will you be going into the office? I have continued concern about COVID, and David has graciously said, no problem, work from home for a month or two and see how it goes. There's no pressure. I'm being careful about being around people. I haven't gotten COVID yet. My wife has not gotten COVID. It's just COVID, or I would take an office there immediately. My assistant is going to take an office there right away, but he's a much younger man. Let's see. Everything else is talking about Disney, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, there you go. So yes, he's definitely going to be involved in decisions concerning DC Studios and possible ways of going about things, which is really good. He's helping not only just Mr. DeLuca, but he's really helping David Zaslav make that transition and helping him understand in a way that really AT&T and their people never got. I think if Alan Horn had been available to help them the way that he's helping Zaslav, they never would have given up control. But it's good that Alan Horn is there. And yes, Del Swolfen, he helped to give us Harry Potter and Constantine with Keanu Reeves. He almost gave us Justice League, the original Justice League. And he also gave us the Dark Knight trilogy. So, yeah, Alan Horn is... and, of course, oversaw those nice awards that a lot of those projects brought in. But Alan Horn is a major get right now. So hopefully, again, all you people who've just sort of been half listening up to this point, I think this is a lot of us have been trying to tell you that this is an important thing that's happening. And hopefully Alan Horn now coming in has your full attention. And yes, the Marshal, that's George Miller's Justice League.
And by the way, there's a lot of talk going around now about the unshot Suicide Squad 2.
Yeah.
And we could possibly get that still.
It depending on how they decide to use the air cut. I think the chances of the air cut being released just went up. So anybody that's making bets as to how this goes, let's just say all you people out there that are betting your lives and or your homes or whatever on this not happening, better start working on your wills.
Yeah.
This is not going to work out for you. You know what, Kingsporial, Constantine was a entertaining film, but it wasn't comic accurate. Even though Keanu wants to be Constantine again. He wouldn't mind making a sequel. He also would like to be Batman. As he said. My thing is, if you're going to hire Keanu to be a part of DC Studios' upcoming projects, I would have him as the Phantom Stranger.
Polly says, do not restore that, man. I got info the Iyer cut was horrible. Maybe that's why there's delays. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's why there are delays. All I know is I don't think that's going to stop them from bringing back the Snyderverse and having Zack Snyder finish out Justice League 2 and 3. You know, for me, I still feel that Snyder is only going to stay long enough to complete his movies, and then he's out. And that we're really just setting everything up for The Rock to basically have him and his people just take over everything.
And I think we'll still see elements of Zack's stuff in the continued DC verse.
Yeah.
But what we've talked about recently is that Henry Cavill has a lot more gravitas, clout in Hollywood. And what we're hoping is that we're going to see his version of Superman rather than Zack's version. I think it's important to distinguish because I don't think Zack Snyder understands Superman at all. And I think that's obvious through anything he did that has Superman in it. I mean, he understands heroism, but he doesn't understand the mindset. By the way, I want to say good morning to Charles Austin, who's joined us too. Good morning, man. He says execs need to understand they are just the money, with the exception of execs who are creative execs. Otherwise, stay out of these directors and actors' ways and let them do their thing. Exactly. That's what we preach on this show.
It's part of the problem with what the MCU is experiencing right now. This is what has led to a lot of the comments by a lot of the visual effects people who are very unhappy with Marvel. As I stated yesterday, the thing that has helped the MCU most is their ability to be able to change things on the fly, to have films and actors and then be able to change it at a moment's notice to fit whatever competition that they're about to get from another movie, usually DC film. That's exactly what happened with Civil War versus Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff they did with Civil War is part of the reasons why they are getting in trouble, not just with visual effects artists, but really with writers and other directors. This is the reason why not a lot of people want to work in the MCU. Okay? So basically, the old adage, that which makes you will also break you, is kind of coming true.
Now, I'm going to tell you that Latino is actually right. That's currently the situation. And Warner Brothers has always been a meddling studio in particular, as is Sony, notorious for meddling. But the fact is, though, a lot of those guys, like Alan Horn, were the guys that give the creators rope and leave the creators to do what they're going to do. And that's why I like guys like Alan Horn. They leave, it's not like what's his name? The kid stays in the film. What's his name? Evans.
Evans.
That dude was up to his fucking armpits with those films, but he had one of the best fucking creative minds that you'll ever see in Hollywood in an office. That guy knew films inside and out. He was a huge fan. And if you did get to enjoy what that little mini series they made, The Offer, you got to see executives who were well versed in storytelling and film lore. They understood film history. They loved movies. That doesn't exist in Hollywood now. The people in big offices in the studios loving movies. In fact, I would say 99.9% of your executives don't love movies. But Robert Evans, man, was a lover of movies. And he was passionate about the films that he was producing.
Every generation
head of the studio.
When you start looking at how things were, making that transition from the old studio system, and then the death of the studio system at the end of the 60s, going into the 70s, every generation from that point of time, you're losing something. And with a lot of the people that are currently running Hollywood, the unfortunate thing is a lot of these people, they're just managers is all they are. They're office managers. Many of these people have no true artistic or creative side to themselves. Everything that they do is all about working in an office.
Well, the thing is when you look at early movies, let's say conservatively between the 30s to roughly the late 60s, okay? Mm-hmm. It was quite, how should I put it, very conservative centric of sorts. Then you start entering the 70s and you start to see very kind of classic type films start to end, right? Like, say, I don't know, like Westerns or just, really nice, good, touchy-feely kind of movies, right? Mm-hmm. Where you start seeing more action-packed, more, it starts to slide towards a type of liberalism of sorts, right? That that is now modern day liberalism, right? You start to see that transitioning. You especially see it hardcore push through the 80s. Because look at it this way: a long time ago, you really wouldn't see like any kind of vulgarity or just hardcore swearing or anything like that in very early films. You just did not see it, right? Women were women, men were men. There were, very prolific movies about, heroism and whatnot. And, here, slowly getting into the 70s, very hardcore in the 80s and 90s. And up till now, you're starting to see a very big downslide. But now they're seeing that, we've gone pretty far over to the left, and now we're just really not making any money anymore because A, B, C, D, E. And so now now you can just see basically what's going on with, for example, Alan Horn, right? Prime example is that now they're calling the old guns to come out because they know the quality. They've been producing the quality that has been making the hits for years and years and years on end. And now they find out that they're in trouble, that we have to get some of these guys to save us, get them out of retirement, help us fix this mess that we're in. That's all that it basically boils down to.
Yeah. Well, it helps that it helps when you have something like the Hays Code, which goes from the 30s to the end, pretty much to the end of the 60s.
Yeah.
Be something that causes people to not want to be too outrageous.
No.
But you have also the first generation of filmmakers coming out of college, which is what the 70s was. You had a lot of these young and upcoming filmmakers being influenced by European and French filmmakers.
Yeah. Look at Spielberg and look at Lucas and look at a few others, right? They were all, say, either inspired by foreign films, like, say, Lucas with Kurosawa's film, or Spielberg with others, because they came watching those classic, like I said before, conservative centric type of movies. And that's why their movies ended up so great.
Yeah. Well,
now you look at the influences from directors now.
Well, the other reason for that is also the fact that people like Steven Spielberg had access to a lot of the powerful people running Hollywood. You got to remember,
well, that's
as you get older, a lot of these people were still around to be able to give advice on how to do things. So you had access to people who could pretty much help you do better. And one of those people was people like Evans. Robert Evans was one of those guys who kind of bridged that gap a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And in many ways, he was kind of a performer himself. You know, he's almost like an actor himself, even though he was really good at negotiating. And so as we've gone on, I mean, when you really look at what Hollywood was when it was founded and the founding of the actual studios, this was all being done by people who initially owned a lot of the theaters themselves. And so they founded Hollywood as a way to create content for the theaters that they were running.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So every generation after that loses a little bit of that connection.
Exactly.
You know, you see that in the 1940s and 50s.
Yeah.
That a lot of these studios have lost connection a little bit with the theaters.
Yeah.
They're now like, we're the big deal. We can do whatever you want. I mean, you still have the Hays Code, of course.
Of course.
But it was a lot of top-down stuff. There was no room for creativity. It was all about maximizing whatever you had to try to get as much money out of the American public as you could.
Yep.
And so by the end of the 60s, what you had were the rise of a lot of these first-generation film students, but also corporations were coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's when you started to see kind of like the homogenization of entertainment, both in terms of the films that were being made, along with the television shows that were being made. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood covers some of that.
Yes.
And once you get into the 80s was about trying to find a way to move forward while also using formulas and things that had been made in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. A lot of the 80s films that were shot, a lot of the cheaper stuff, had really basic, simple plots that could have easily been picked out of movies from the 30s and the 40s. They were just sprinkled with a lot of 80s stuff to say, hey, this is an 80s movie. Then you get into the 90s and things are starting to go off the rails a little bit.
Yeah.
As corporations begin to exert more control financially and try to figure out ways of being able to get more money. And that's when you started seeing
heavy product placement and stuff like that.
But also and at the same time you started having this thing where, hey, let's start adapting television shows as movies. And so that's when you started first of all, you were getting remakes of films, and then you were getting adaptations of television series.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of people got to understand, we've already had Bewitched and My Favorite Martian have all been turned into movies.
That's right.
And the Avengers, the original British Avengers television series, was turned into a movie.
Project Alf. No, I'm just kidding.
I hope we never see that. But I mean, this was all going into the 90s and through the 90s. So, you know, what we have here with people being sick and tired of remakes and blah, 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 that's always gone on in Hollywood. I mean, you know, what did you think that the Dragnet movie from the 1950s was? It's an adaptation of the hit, you know, radio show that eventually led to the television series. You know, a lot of people forget the Lone Ranger actually had movies.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
So, and this is all about just trying to get as much money out of fans and everyone else as possible. And now you have corporations that are pretty much running all of Hollywood, and they are doing whatever they can to squeeze as much out of whatever IPs they own. And some of it works, some of it doesn't. They are slow to pick up any new ideas, unless it's something that's either a best-selling book, which we went through that in the 80s and the 90s also. Actually, that's always been with Hollywood for the longest period of time. Anybody that sells a lot of books, Hollywood will scoop it up, turn it into movies. I'm looking right at you, Gone with the Wind. But you know,
I do reference that because I talk about it all the time. That the executives actually, understood the necessity of Oscars for their studio.
Mm-hmm.
And Gone with the Wind is one of those films that he didn't care if it did well. He made that movie solely, and I'm talking about David O. Selznick, made that film solely for the purpose of guaranteeing wiping the floor of the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to kick the shit out of MGM and Paramount and all those guys. He's like, we're going to have the best film of the year. And he knew that going into making Gone with the Wind, that it was just going to absolutely sweep the Oscars. And that's why he put so much fucking money in it and didn't give a shit if it was successful. Problem is, it was successful too.
And everybody had to one up each other thereafter. When you look at things like, when you look at something like, say, Cleopatra, or even better yet, from years before, when you look at something like the Ten Commandments, and where they started, the studio that put that out started funding having the Ten Commandments in a lot of smaller towns. It didn't cost them any money to put up the Ten Commandments in various towns. To have somebody chisel those and to have this great big announcement, usually in a lot of smaller towns where they would unveil the Ten Commandments in the town square. It didn't cost any real money for them to do that. And it was all added in to getting people into the movie theater to see the movie. Yes.
Yep.
So Hollywood's always had its way with the American public, and they found different ways of just sort of getting your attention to lure you into the darkness. The things that have changed is just how the money's distributed. In the 1970s, it's not just the fact that you had kids coming out of college who learned how to be filmmakers from what college was telling you. But it was the fact that it was changing how actors now saw their role. And you were having, instead of a top-down approach, being the person that ran the studio, telling everybody how to make a movie, you now had directors and writers and actors having more power and more say. So all of that contributes to where we are right now. Thus, Alan Horn. But it's
and I wanted to go back because there's something I brought up earlier, and I wanted to bring it back, talking about Ron Shusett and Dan O'Bannon with Alien. The two guys that, and I don't know if they ever got screen credit for what they did, but Walter Hill and David Giler were the two guys who ended up rewriting the script for Ridley. And because I brought up how Ron Shusett and Dan O'Bannon ran into a lot of walls over being allowed on the set and shit like that during film productions. That included Total Recall, and later with Shusett on his film with, I think it was Anthony Hopkins and Mick Jagger and all that shit, that sci-fi movie he did. I think, was it Emilio Estevez in a film too?
I think so. Yeah.
There was a sci-fi film back in the 90s, and he was asked to leave the set a couple of times. Then, like, the actors would like fight for them and get them back on the set because they liked hearing what they had to say. But it was Walter Hill was probably the biggest influence on the changes for Alien, and Walter Hill's a hell of a writer. So,
hey guys, sorry about that. I didn't want to keep annoying
you. Ridley basically brought somebody on who was a superior writer to Ron Shusett and Dan O'Bannon. So that's how that worked. And it worked. That's why Alien is such a great fucking film. Not just a monster film or a sci-fi film. It's a good film.
Boss, we have a super sticker from Darius Munchausen.
What is the sticker? I can't see it here in StreamYard. Any idea?
It's popcorn.
Popcorn. Popcorn. Remember
Free
that
Jack.
from the movie?
Free Jack is the name of the sci-fi
Free
movie.
Jack's a sci-fi film. Yeah, he was asked to leave the set a couple times, and actors fought to get him brought back on. But the movie with Say Anything, the star of Say Anything, John Cusack, where he's a hitman. And
Gross
Dan
Point
Aykroyd,
Blank.
Yeah,
Gross Point Blank. Fucking Dan Aykroyd. Popcorn. 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 Fucking crazy, whacked out fucking hitman. And when he yells it at him, he thinks he's got him cornered. And when he stands up, John Cusack. John Cusack smashes him over the head with the TV set. Puts the TV set on him. I think he killed him in that too when he did that. I love that movie. Gross Point Blank, great film.
That's a fun movie.
But anyway, so $1.49 Super Sticker Darius. Thank you for the popcorn. I'm going to play you this one. I've been waiting for a while. How do I feel about things right now with Warner Brothers?
Now I am as happy as a little girl.
There I am. And my problem with most studios?
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Good movie. If a lot of you look, I'm assuming that everybody in this room has seen that movie, right?
No. What movie?
Cool Hand Luke.
Oh no, not yet. Swear to God, I haven't. I wasn't
what?
much years ago. I wasn't much on westerns, but now I'm actually getting into them. So
that's not a western.
Okay, well,
that's it. That's it right there, Charles. Bing, 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 bang. Popcorn.
Well,
look,
I feel awkward now.
No. Don't feel awkward. It's just you're gonna have to make sure you see that soon. That one and The Hustler are two of my favorite films from him. Paul Newman was just a beast, but Cool Hand Luke is one of those films that, wow, just wow.
Nice.
I'm not here to make fun of people. I'm actually here that if I love putting out films, making suggestions for films that people haven't seen, because I want you to have to see and understand, because again, Hollywood has really added to our culture. It's added to our identity, and you need to see some of the films that were some of the major hits that did that. And Cool Hand Luke is one of those films. Dust Wolfen, there are a lot of people you will not believe some of the films that a lot of people haven't seen. Trust me, it's I still know people that haven't seen the movie Heat, which is one of the most manliest movies out there. Heat could not get made today. Okay.
Well, my general opinion is this. Look, it's okay to have not seen films, except for Star Wars. You have to go out of your fucking way not to have seen a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
So, and I still run into people that say it, and I'm just looking at them like, you are really testing my patience, because you got to go out of your fucking way not to see a Star Wars film. But here you go. Here's that scene, the first time he says it.
Because either way, I'm going to get you, kid.
Yeah, get what? Get back.
Hey, bing, 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 bang. Popcorn.
Like, what the fuck? I love that movie, Gross Point Blank.
Everybody has a good time. I mean, they look like they had a great time making that movie.
So. Right.
Yeah. And I like that they got an alternate version of Let My Love Open the Door by Pete Townsend in there, the slow version. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of that song. It's one of my favorite songs in the 80s. But I guess we need to get the fuck out of here. I got to prep for our afternoon show, TGIF. I'm so glad we got somebody coming in with a valued opinion of Cameron Pasha to talk about Alan Horn's. It's a major coup. And I couldn't believe same fucking week he announces Michael DeLuca is going to be overseeing DC in the interim until they get somebody in there. fuck, what a fucking week. What a fucking week. For my good friend John, aka Das Wölfin, I have this one for you, my friend.
Before we begin, would you like to touch my monkey?
There you go. One more
Before
time.
we begin, would you like to touch my monkey?
There you go. I also put that up there for Anima Confusa because I tease her with that one too.
You know, let me just say this. If you haven't seen, Paul Newman's one of these, is a major star, okay? To me, Road to Perdition is a nice final film from him. And that cast is stacked. If you've never seen that movie, Google The Road to Perdition starring Paul Newman and look at that cast. I mean, wow. And it's based on a DC comic.
Well, you are talking about one of my favorite films there, Hondo. And a lot of people do not know this, that there is a direct connection between that film and Get Shorty. It just happened to be written by the same fucking man. Wait, not Hondo. Paul Newman is the film I'm thinking of. What's the Paul Newman Western? Not Hondo.
Outside of the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid?
No, it is a film called Hombre is the film I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Because Louis L'Amour wrote the other film. But Hombre, on the other hand, was written by the same guy that wrote Get Shorty. And a lot of people don't know that. And I'm such a big fan, and that's Elmore Leonard, by the way. I'm such a big fan of that movie, Hombre with Paul Newman, that the hero of Vindicated Inc., my comic book, has the same name. And you don't learn his name in Hombre until the end after he's dead. Because like all these people are standing there dealing with him, Paul Newman's character sacrificing himself to save them. And it's like, you don't even know his name. His name was John Russell.
I have two suggestions if you're a Paul Newman fan that seem out of the ordinary, but trust me.
We get porn bots. Yay.
One is for those that may never have seen Paul Newman do comedy, he had a great sense of humor. Check out his movie, The Hudsucker Proxy. Okay? That's a comedy. And also the fact that he was actually on The Simpsons.
The Simpsons.
He did an episode called The Blunder Years with Paul Newman as Paul Newman.
Paul Newman also did a comedy that included an all-star cast. It was shit. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Give me a second. Dick Van Dyke is in it. Gosh, hold on. Let me just look it up. Hold on.
Yeah, not like we have access to.
It was in the 60s.
Interesting.
What a way to go. It's got Dean Martin, Robert Mitchum, Gene Kelly, Dick Van Dyke, and starring Shirley MacLaine as the female lead in the film. And just a great fucking romantic comedy of all the men that she tries to have relationships with. And as I recall, Paul Newman plays a American in France trying to be an artist. And each one of them dies a tragic death. Every guy in her life dies this tragic death. It's fucking funny.
Tom Hanks, Daniel Craig, Ciarán Hinds, and the current Superman on TV, Taylor Hoechlin.
For what are we talking about?
The Road to Perdition.
Oh yeah,
Paul Newman.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it. And Jude Law. I keep forgetting Jude Law.
Yeah, Jude Law's a major minor character. He's a minor character in the film, but his interactions are important.
Yeah, very important.
So,
and Jennifer Jason Leigh. How could I forget Jennifer?
And Paul Newman's great in it. I mean, and if you haven't seen The Sting, there's a lot of comedy in that film too.
Oh,
and it got me started on that thing that I do, and I still use the animated GIF of him whenever somebody says something that's on spot. I have Paul Newman going like that with his nose because he did that in the movie The Sting. Him and Redford do that thing with each other, and it's so sad. They wanted to do another film together before they died, and Paul left us already.
Yeah.
And the film he did for Warner Brothers was originally also supposed to be a third in the detective series that he was trying to do with that detective back in the 60s. And he made two films. One was the name of the attorney, the detective, and then the second was called The Drowning Pool. And the third one was called Twilight. And it was supposed to be the same character, but they couldn't get the rights. Warner couldn't get the rights, so they just made the detective movie, but he's still the same character that he played in those original films back in the late 60s. And if you've never seen Paul Newman in The Drowning Pool, Harry something, I can't remember, but not to be mistaken with Harry Palmer, which is, I've always known that as being a joke on someone jerking off. Harry Palmer.
That's quite funny.
Fuck you guys. Like, am I the only one that got that fucking joke back in the 60s?
No.
No, you're not.
I was kind of busy back in.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
That's what I got to say about that. And I want to end the show with this last video that I just added, and I love this. It's one of my favorite moments in the thing.
You believe any of this voodoo bullshit, Blair?
Charles, chariots of the gods, man. They practically own South America. I mean, they taught the Incas everything they know.
Boom. I love that fucking script, man. So anyway, are we caught up with the chat? Can I get my thank you list, Martin?
I will say, Road to Perdition made it easier for Robert Redford to say hello to the MCU. Think about that.
Yes, I swear to God, we got to get, after the show, I'm going to work with Danny on adding that filter so we can knock out some of all the noises he makes.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah.
Chair creaking, shuffling paper, all that stuff, because I use a filter and it blocks out a lot. You can't hear the loud ass fan right next to me. It really works. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here. And of course, I've got my list. Thank you, Akuna 1876. Thank you for the $10 Bulgarian. Anima Confusa, thanks for being here. Baked Bean was here. Bill Barkley, thank you, sir. Cece was here. Hi, Cece. Charles Austin, Darius Munchausen. Ooh, for Darius again. Here's that video.
Before we begin, would you like to touch my monkey?
There we go. And D. Bud Martin. Don Ecker was in the chat. Man, I love that he's popping in and watching our show. Dr. Dragon was here. It's the single best name for a Saturday morning cartoon villain. Floral from Under a Rock was here. Gap After Dark, formerly the Gap known as Stargate. Yeah, a Gap formerly known as Stargate. Yeah, fuck you guys. After Dark, Keely Chow was here. Kingsport Cal, of course. Latino Slant, Polly. Lord Thoth was here. Marcos A. Monkajibus. Hello, Monkajibus. How are you doing? Thank you. Come again. Penny J was here. Real Wade Nation. Sox Bulletins. The Comic Relief Crusader is also on the show. And I'll remind people that the campaign is in the video description down below to go directly to his GoFundMe. If you are too lazy to look down there, here, let me just copy the link for you. Copy, making copies. There we go. I'm going to add that to the chat. There you go. Boom. Fat Steven and I are the only ones pushing it right now. We got to get more pushing.
Yeah. If I can say, it looks like right now I'm up to $7.95.
Now this is because I think Drunk 3PO is jumping in, right?
Yeah, he actually helped me out with 200, so we can
tell him
keep
thank
the
you
U-Haul.
from us too, from Keith and Gary at Pop Culture Minefield.
Yeah, definitely. I will definitely do that. Yeah, he very nicely, like out of nowhere, I don't know how, but just PayPal'd me $200 so we could just keep this U-Haul till Saturday. So we can just get the rest of the stuff.
That's amazing. So. That's really good.
Yeah.
So you're going to be temporarily staying, I guess, sleeping on a sofa at your son's.
Yeah. We're trying to get the rest of our stuff over to our son's. I mean, by the end of it, I don't even know if we're going to have enough room to set up our bed, basically. Plus, on top of that, we got our 12-year-old.
Yeah, I know.
So and
keep
then
us abreast of what's going on, buddy.
Yeah, I'll try to get my computer hooked up over there. I don't know if I'm even gonna have room for my desk, but
again,
yeah.
I put the link in the chat.
No, thank you.
And
I appreciate it.
It is in the video description too. King's Pork Cow, thank you very much for the $2 super chat. Here's some dollar. Road to Perdition is a classic. Agreed. Classic. And, you know, going into the 2000s, I was involved with a movie production that really was so fucking close to getting made. We were going to shoot in Kurdistan. And the Kurdistan government was funding the film. We had gotten an agreement for them for $2.5 million to shoot my script, which was rewritten by Dale Dye, called City of Fire. My script was more accurate than Dale's was. Mine was actually about the events of the day that the battle took place. But when Dale and I talked, we both agreed that we should do the same thing that was done with Oliver Stone's Platoon, which was grab some events that were close to that date and go ahead and squeeze them in, which added a lot more action, a lot more drama. And so his script is so much more superior than mine, but my script's still a great fucking script for City of Fire. And it'll never be seen because Kurdistan kind of crashed and burned when shit heated up there in Iraq, and shit was going on with Turkey because they kept going across the border and killing Kurds in Iraq. It was just a bad situation. So the whole thing fell through. It happens. You know, I've worked on many a project that has fallen through, but could potentially still get picked up later, like Dale Dye's movie No Better Place to Die, because that's not dead. You got Tom Hanks and Gary Sinise directly involved in producing it. So, but I want to get back to the thank yous. Penny J, thank you for being here. Real Wade Nation, Socks Bulletins, does a lot of sharing of our show. Thank you, man. I appreciate all you guys who share the show, but Socks goes beyond the Call of Duty on that one. Comic Relief Crusader, fuck that guy.
Meh.
The Peter Venkman fan site, thanks for showing up. And I want to thank her for throwing me some kisses last night. Thank you. The Marshal was here. Wolverine 626, Zacharat 315. And of course, Comic Relief. The link is down below. I also put it in the chat. Please do consider sharing his stuff. And if you can afford it, only if you can afford it, be a contributor to the campaign, because nobody should be homeless, man.
Yeah, I've worked it out now with what's raised. I mean, again, if I got 100 people to just donate $33 at this point, that's it. That's it.
And for Kingsport Cal, I will again thank you for the $2. And here's your video, because as I tell people, it's hard to know me. It really is. Only a handful of people really understand me. Because when you think I'm this one thing, you find out, no, I'm not that at all. And so I play this for you, Kingsport Cow, because I think you get me.
If you don't know me by now, you will never know me.
That guy has a high voice.
That's a very feminine voice.
Yeah, I thought it was a woman the first time I heard it, but
that's what I thought.
I'm not going to play the original song because I'll get ganked for it, but I will play that. And I want to thank our panel for being here. Thank you, Dork Knight. Thank you, Keith. And of course, Martin, thank you for being the leader of the chat. And I want to thank, of course, my buddy Mike Lorber for being here, also known as the Comic Relief Crusader. And you need a shorter fucking name. Tell your 12-year-old daughter to shut her fucking mouth.
Never. I'm doing this also all for her so she can finally have a puppy.
Yes, have a roof over her head that's not rented, where somebody else has control over it. Good morning, Lindsay. Thanks for being here. We are, Kingsport Cow. I get you, Gary. Yeah, buddy. What's that? Hold on. What is it? You owe me some hair toss? I will. Look, man, I won't do it on this episode, but I will give you some hair toss maybe tonight if you show up on the thing. Remind me in the chat, and I'll give you a little hair toss because I do have long hair. So I want to thank you guys for joining us. I love doing this show, and I do this show because of you guys. It's so much fun. I like interacting with you guys. It's like one of my favorite things to do, and it gives me purpose. Because I often question, that's what the whole beginning of the show is about, is 99% of the time I don't see a purpose to me. I don't get the point of my existence. But when I'm doing this, I'm doing what I love doing, talking about shit going on, telling funny stories, talking about films, and interacting with people that I find really fucking interesting people to talk to. And I'm grateful that all you guys are here, including you on the panel. Yes, you too, Danny.
No comment.
I've been muting until you can help me with this mic.
Hey, Danny, I am curious. What are you planning to do this afternoon?
I'm not.
Oh, that was cool.
The answer is what? TGIF.
Y'all come back now, you hear?